Spacebound and Watch WWE present Top 10 WWE Superstars that hate Vince McMahon. This video is brought to you by Watch WWE, so make sure you go check them out and subscribe to them for producing this video. Number 10. Goldberg. Unfortunately, the dream of Bill Goldberg being in the WWE and the reality couldn't have been further apart. The former NFL pro actually entered the company in legendary fashion by announcing his arrival with a hellacious spear to the Rock on the post-WrestleMania 19 episode of Raw. Goldberg's time within the WWE started to diminish the moment his feud with The Rock concluded. Goldberg was far from happy with McMahon's handling of his character and expressed his thought through the Fox 23 Tulsa News, stating, "I can't really say anything positive about the man. It's like working with a carny who is driven only by his ego. Business is out of the window as evidenced by what he did with my character, so I don't have a positive thing to say about that guy." Number 9. Bruno Sammartino. Bruno is a traditionalist when it comes to wrestling. He firmly believes that the contests we view within the squared circle should be seen as a sport and nothing else. The former WWE champion has frequently slated Vince McMahon for turning wrestling into a soap opera with far-fetched, elaborated, and often crude storylines, subsequently cheapening the sport that he devoted such a large portion of his life to. Sammartino was also angered by the heavy steroid abuse that started to become a trend in professional wrestling. He believed that Vince valued appearance far more than his employees' health. He listed these issues to be detrimental and the reason he was unwilling to accept his place within the WWE Hall of Fame in 2003. Number 8. Goldust. Dustin Rhodes is an incredible talented wrestler and is highly debated as to whether the strange, creepy Goldust gimmick allowed Rhodes an extensive time in the WWE or simply prevented him from reaching the top. Rhodes' time within the WWE has been extremely sporadic and remains so even to this day. The wrestler has been fired 3 times and quit on 2 occasions, which, as you would expect, has a huge effect on Goldust's feelings towards his employer, Mr. McMahon. He says that the lack of empathy towards Owen Hart's death angered him greatly and crushed all respect he once had for the WWE chairman. Number 7. The Headbangers. The Headbangers were never destined to be the next Rock and Roll Express or Road Warriors. The team was still incredibly entertaining at a time when wacky and trashy was all the rage in wrestling. It wasn't long until the Headbangers weren't considered a valuable asset to Vince McMahon anymore, and therefore was released from the company. Since leaving the WWE, both members of the tag team have criticized McMahon for being cold and neglectful at the time their contracts were due to end, which Mossy says Royal P pissed him off. The WWE magazine recently listed the team as number 2 entry in a rundown of wrestlers that overslayed their welcome. Number 6. The Road Warriors. The Road Warriors, or Legion of Doom, as they were later dubbed after joining the WWE, have been extremely vocal about their intense hatred for the man that once signed their paychecks. During a shoot interview, Hawk even went as far to say, "I really hope that I don't outlive Vince McMahon, because if I do, I'll do some horrible things to his grave. He's the most evil person I've ever met in my life." Hawk believes that McMahon did not appreciate the ways in which the Road Warriors would openly air their frustrations within the locker room, going on to indicate that those only willing to brown-nose the boss would ever progress within the company. Number 5. Chyna. In 2012, Chyna took to Twitter and offloaded 35 back-to-back tweets directed at her former boss, Vince McMahon. It's hard to tell if there's a recent motive for the Twitter rant or if she was just dwelling on her problems from the past. The entire thing is so poorly written and void of any structure that Chyna's reasons for the messages still remains cryptic at best. There's no denying that the 9th wonder of the world was extremely unfortunate in the events that led her to leaving the WWE, but we're at a point now where it'd be better for her just to leave and move on. Number 4. The Ultimate Warrior. Thankfully, the man and the Ultimate Warrior were able to put aside their differences earlier this year. This allowed Warrior the opportunity to take the rightful place within the WWE Hall of Fame before sadly passing away only a few days after the ceremony. The idea of McMahon and Warrior even being so much as in the same room with each other was inconceivable to many skeptics for a great deal of time, due to their very heated disagreements. The most notable issue came in 1991, when the Ultimate Warrior sent McMahon a handwritten letter demanding the money and perks he felt he had earned. McMahon replied with a letter of his own, agreeing to succumb to the majority of Warrior's demands, as well as signing off with a positive and seemingly reassuring, "I would like to express to you my deepest appreciation and admiration for you as a performer, as a member of the WWF family, as a man, and as my friend." But 2 months later, subsequently after Warrior wrestled at the WWE's highest profile PPV event, SummerSlam, McMahon suspended the demanding superstar and subsequently canceled his previous acceptance of Warrior's demands, stating, "In the face of your threatened breach of your contract, I had to sign the modifications, because the only alternative was that Titan would suffer great loss and irreparable harm if you failed to appear at SummerSlam. Accordingly, I consider those purported modifications to be null and void." As you can imagine, things became pretty sour from there on in. Number 3. Jeff Jarrett. It is largely believed that the mere existence of TNA can be credited to the mutual hostility between Jeff Jarrett and Vince McMahon. The moment McMahon purchased WCW, Double J has left without a major platform to wrestle on. Jarrett was not delusional to the fact that Vince would never be willing to do business with him again, and therefore decided to create his own company. While TNA has yet to make the WWE truly sweat, it cannot be argued that it is currently McMahon's biggest competitor. The most heated exchange shared between McMahon and Jarrett came in 1999, when Jarrett essentially blackmailed McMahon into paying him a large sum of money to perform. Somehow the company had allowed Jarrett to remain the WWE Intercontinental Champion up until the day his contract expired, at which point he would make the move to WCW. McMahon wanted Jarrett to drop the belt to Chyna at the No Mercy PPV, but his contract was set to expire a day before the event, so McMahon reluctantly agreed to pay Double J the money he requested, and the pair have been unwilling to do business ever since. Number 2. Bret Hart. In 1996, Bret Hart signed a 20-year contract with the WWE, a deal that would prove to be a mistake for both parties as soon as 1997. McMahon could no longer afford to pay out such a lucrative salary. While the Hitman became tired and unhappy at playing second fiddle to Shawn Michaels, the pair therefore came to a mutual agreement that Hart would leave the WWE and sign a fresh contract with the rival company, WCW. In his last match ever with the WWE, he was cheated out of a WWE Championship title win in an extremely controversial and humiliating way. Under the orders of Vince McMahon, the referee ended the match prematurely and gave the victory to rival competitor Shawn Michaels, even though it was clear that Hart did not legitimately submit. Hart was extremely angry about his boss's deceitful actions, which he expressed by spitting in the face of the WWE chairman from within the middle of the ring. However, the Hitman didn't stop at saliva. Later that evening, a still extremely infuriated Hart would also punch an apologetic Vince backstage, knocking McMahon to the ground in the process. For years, Survivor Series 97 has been one of wrestling's most discussed topics. Who screwed who? I'll leave that for you to decide. Number 1. Randy Savage. We will probably never hear anything beyond rumors regarding the real issue that ignited the hatred between McMahon and Savage. The pair have largely remained tight-lipped when questioned about their personal history, yet the fact that McMahon appears to get angry whenever Savage is so much as mentioned within his proximity indicates that the root of the problem is pretty deep. Many people believe the hostility came down to Macho Man giving his word to Vince that he wouldn't join WCW, but still left the WWE for McMahon's biggest rival regardless of his previous promise. Leave a like if you enjoyed and also make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you next video.